Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1984 and today's date is October 1st, 2019, and the title of the episode is Trump Blames It All on the Fed, Right on Schedule. Now, before I get started, let's talk about retirement. Now, if you visit any of the great tourist spots in America, everything looks peachy. The gamblers and shows in Las Vegas, the restaurants and theaters on Broadway, the galleries and bars in Chicago are all full. But look a little closer, and all is not well. You can't fail to notice an uptick in homeless and street people out there. That's how it started last time. If you speak to them, many of the older folk were ordinary people who fell victim to the banks in the last crash of 2008. Foreclosure and bankruptcy, and they've never recovered. They didn't want to be there, and they borrowed until they couldn't borrow anymore. And when it all went wrong, they found themselves destitute on the streets. The signs are all there, and this is happening again right now. Car loans at an all-time high, credit cards getting maxed out, and house prices and mortgage lending rocketing. But just like last time and the time before that, the stock market is way overvalued and wobbling. You're not going to want to be there when it all crashes down again, because the next one will take your savings with it. You need to put precious metal safety net of gold or silver under those savings to protect them. Gold and silver are low-risk assets, and you can cash out again when the danger has passed. So talk to one of the specialists over at Noble Gold today and see how they can help to protect you and your family for what's coming. Click the link below to get the free gold guide or call 877-646-5347. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the central bank global economy, it is in trouble. The central banks around the world, they're completely exposed. And they're trying to blame all of this on Trump, but when you look at the U.S., the stats show the U.S. is doing very, very well. So it really makes no sense that it's because of Trump. Yes, they're trying to use his tariffs as this is why this is all happening. It's the trade wars. But when you look back in time and you look at the GDP numbers of the world and you look at all the stats, they've been declining way before Trump. And the economy is not doing worse because of Trump. It is the way the central bank system is designed. They're exposed now. And they're nervous, they're afraid, they're panicking. Trump and the Patriots, they are keeping the central bank system operational here in the United States, which then moves to the rest of the world because the United States right now, because of the Federal Reserve note, is the reserve currency. The rest of the world is really in trouble. They have been for a long time. And they were deteriorating very, very quickly. This is why the central bankers, the deep state, the mainstream media, this is why they plan to raise rates during the presidency of Trump. Until Trump took over, the Patriots took over, and dictated what the Fed should do. If they continue to raise rates throughout 2019 going into 2020, the ECB was going to follow along with stimulus. The entire economic system would have imploded on itself around 2020. That's why the mainstream media was out there reporting on this, saying, yes, we're going to have a recession. When it didn't happen, they tried to push it with telling everyone that there's going to be a recession, hoping that everyone would become scared and afraid and not spend their money. This is what they tried to do because 71% of GDP is made up of people going out and spending their money. Trump, what he did is he kind of countered all of this. How did he do this? He needed to put cash back in the pockets of the everyday person. And what the deep state and the central bankers have been doing is they've been adding more and more regulations. They've been adding more and more taxes, like the Obamacare tax penalty. And what did that do? It allowed people to have extra currency in their wallet. That's what it allowed everyone to have. When the tax penalty disappears this year, what does that do? It allows the everyday person to have more funds in their pocket. Think about what he had to do. He had to undo the regulations, the taxes, to allow the people to have more currency in their bank, in their wallet, wherever. And he had to do this because the people were being squeezed. And what he did was he reversed all of this. Now, the World Trade Organization, they're out there and they're letting everyone know that they need to change their predictions. They said a darkening outlook for trade is discouraging. Now, when you look at the World Trade Organization and their outlook, and you go back to 2011, from 2011 moving to 2016, it was declining. When Trump got elected, it bounced up. Now it's declining once again. And the reason why it bounced up is because the people saw hope, countries around the world saw hope, but again, that only lasts so long. And then the trajectory continues downward. And that's what we're seeing. Because in 2018, 2019, that's when the tariffs really came into play. And when you look at this, you can see that we were in a place where everything was heading south. And we see this with the IMF and the rest of the central banks. It's not like this is something new. And we need to remember that this is a central bank globalist system that is failing. This is exactly what the patriots are pushing for. They want the central banking system to fail. They want them completely exposed. How is this going to happen? Most likely it's going to happen out in Europe and around the world first, and then it will come back here to the United States. But again, the patriots are planning to transition us out of this central bank system. This is what this is all about. This is what deregulation and cutting the tax regulations in half and allowing people to have more currency. It's letting people prepare for all of this. And at the same time, it is boosting the economy like we've never seen before. Think about it. He's cutting taxes, cutting regulation, setting up equal trade. And what do we see happening? We see, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the real median household income is at its highest level ever. After 8 years in office, Obama was able to raise wages only $1,000 per household. Trump was able to do this 3 times what Obama did. He raised it $3,000 more dollars. Now, I wonder how Trump was able to do this. Well, he deregulated, he cut taxes, he removed the Obamacare tax penalty, and guess what happens? People's income increases. What else do we see? We see Trump bringing back trade, making new trade deals, bringing back manufacturers, making trade equal around the world. Now, we had some poor manufacturing numbers come in, and Trump is blaming the Fed, saying, listen, the dollar is way too high. I've told you this before. And we see the ECB cutting interest rates. They're in the negative territory. Actually, they're negative 0.6%. The United States is between 1.75 and 2%. Think about this for a sec. They've started stimulus. We've started stimulus. And the dollar is too strong. When the dollar is strong, what happens? Well, a stronger dollar makes U.S. exports less attractive to foreign buyers because they become more expensive. This is why Trump is saying, listen, if we're going to compete, we need to do what the rest of the world is doing. And the central bank is not reacting fast enough. So Trump tweeted out the following. As I predicted, Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve have allowed the dollar to get so strong, especially relative to all other currencies, that our manufacturers are being negatively affected. Fed rate too high, they are their own worst enemy. They don't have a clue. Pathetic. Now remember, the Fed, they don't care about the U.S. economy. They don't really care about the world economy. What they care about is their system of debt and making a profit and controlling nations and governments and people. That's what they care about. And what Trump is doing right now is he's hitting the Fed, letting the entire country and the world, letting them know that the Fed doesn't know what they're really doing with the economy. They never have. They never worked in the best interest of the people. So when he says that the Fed is not doing what I want, they don't have a clue, they're pathetic, what he's really saying is that the Fed was never working for you, never working for this country. They don't have a clue of what the people need or want because they don't want to know that. They don't care about that. They don't have an allegiance to a people, a country, or any group. The only group they have an allegiance to is themselves. And Trump is letting everyone know that it's because of the Fed that the economy is not doing well. Now think about that. Because of what the Fed is doing, the economy is not doing well. Wouldn't it be better off to have no Fed whatsoever? Most likely, yes. This is why Trump is having the Fed bring down the interest rates to 0. He doesn't have to deal with them when they're at 0. He might even go negative. But once he's at a certain point, he doesn't need them anymore. What else do? What, they create currency? They provide stimulus? That's it. They don't do anything else. The other thing they do is they make the U.S. economy, the global economy, worse every single day by piling on debt. And Trump is going to reverse all of this. How do we know this? This is why Trump has Andrew Jackson hanging on his wall. Remember, Andrew Jackson, he campaigned on getting rid of the central bank. And he did this. And after that, the economy, the country, was better off. Yes, the central bank slithered their way back into the country, but Trump is following Jackson and what he did when he was president. And we're going to be talking about this a lot more in the next report. And what we're seeing right now is Trump and the Patriots, they have full control of this system. And while they have full control, they're continually pointing the finger at the Fed, letting everyone know they are not for the people. They're not for the country. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.